Hey yo, what's up YouTube man? It's your boy Action Jackson, and in today's video, man, we're gonna be breaking down film of defensive end Donovan Ezeiruaku coming out of Boston College, man. So before we hop into the video, I'd appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment your thoughts on what you see on the film session as well. You guys are watching along. You guys are watching what I'm doing and how I'm breaking down the player, how I am evaluating the player. Let me know if I'm tripping about something. As long as you're respectful in the comments, I will reply respectfully back. And whatever I missed on tape, I'm not afraid of criticism, and I'm never afraid of constructive criticism and getting better as not only as a person but also as a content creator. And then also please share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content, man. So hopping straight into it, man. Something that I want to discuss real quick before we go into the film session, man. And one thing is, I really liked what the Dallas Cowboys has done so far in the offseason in terms of they got most of our star players a sibling. In terms of this world out here is a little bit tough, and when you have somebody out here that can help you out in terms of the world, when you have a sibling, it just makes things a lot easier. What I mean by a sibling, just like that, you got a partner with you, right? So it's like Dak Prescott got CeeDee Lamb already, but now CeeDee Lamb got him a partner. Now he got George Pickens. The offensive line got a little bit better. Cooper Beebe, Tyler Smith got somebody that can pair inside with the interior offensive line. Have somebody that can move guys and protect us interior wise from the conference that we play in the NFC. Also, you got to think about our division with Darius Alexander and Dexter Lawrence for the Giants, Jazar Newton and Deron Payne for the Commanders, and then you got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They got Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. So that's just an interior that we got to play twice a year for each of those three teams. So yeah, man, I really like what they've done so far on that end on the offensive side. Then defensive side, you got Diggs, you got Deron Blanchard help with Savon Revel Jr. You got Sanborn to help out with Maris Lewis-Fowl. You got Kenneth Murray to help out DeMarvin Overshown, things like that. But the person that we're talking about most importantly is Donovan Ezeiruaku. We got Micah Parsons, finally a hooper, finally somebody that can go win matchups on his own against talented offensive linemen and go out there and prove himself. Because I feel like Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in the league when he has help around him. And I think this is definitely somebody that has help and that is going to help out Micah Parsons, and I'm going to show you guys going into the film session. Real quick, discussing Donovan Ezeiruaku, something I want to talk about real quick, just about his background and things like that. From a stat wise, he is in 2024. He had a standout season for Boston College. He led the nation with 16 and a half sacks, and he also earned the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He also won the Ted Hendricks Award, which is also the best Defensive Player of the Year award in college that you can earn. He, again, 16 and a half sacks. He had 20 and a half TFLs. He averaged 1.38 sacks a game. He averaged 1.7 tackles for TFLs per game. And he had 766 total defensive snaps. 428 of those were pass rush, and 302 of those were run defense, which is something I think he struggles in a little bit when I was breaking down his tape. But he really struggles because he's 6'1". He's a shorter defensive end. He isn't your prototypical size defensive end like you would like your defensive ends in a perfect world for them to be 6'4", 6'5", and Donovan Ezeiruaku isn't that. But damn it, he plays really good to his size, and size isn't something that is going to be too much of a factor for him once he gets into the league and he shows off his grown man strength. So hopping straight into the first game that we're going to be discussing is that Missouri game. It was against Luther Burden. One thing I noticed about most of these games when I'm breaking down the tape is that Boston College are losing a lot of games. Donovan Ezeiruaku right there. It was where the yellow marker was, but look at the way he's playing that run right there. I understand that a big run did go backside his way. We're going to see another detailed view, but look at the way he's going up against the run. He's standing his ground, giving ground very slowly. There's going to be some film later on where you're going to see he has very powerful hands. We're skipping through the tape a little bit. The yellow marker again is where he's at. But look at where he's pushing these guys out right there. Like, look at the way he pushed back number 70, that interior offensive lineman, for Missouri. Let's back up a little bit and we can do that. I'm all doing this on the Mac, so it's a lot better than me normally doing this from my phone. All right, let's go back. All right, cool. Let's start right here and look at the way that Donovan Ezeiruaku was able to push back 70, and in the league, man, we're gonna see another view of this play, but look at the way he crashes inside, quick burst, quick step. Yes, he has to go and make that play for sure. But when you make up that, when you push 70 like that and you push back a guard like that in the NFL, you're gonna have DeMarvin Overshown and Maris Lufau coming downhill and making that play. Something that I wanted to talk about, it's not always peaches and cream on this side. And when I'm talking about these players, I want to be very critical when I am talking about these players. No, I'm not crapping on him, but it's just something that I believe he needs to work on a little bit. Is we were discussing about his size, right? So you're going to see right here when they run this little, you would say, basically a quarterback draw, that Donovan Ezeiruaku was trying to take on this block. I know he was defending for like a pass, but he does get blown off the ball a little bit right there. But again, I think that was more because he was trying to pass set. But look, right there, that was a pressure. That would be put on a stat sheet as a pressure. Boston College was showing blitz. They didn't account for Donovan Ezeiruaku. Look how quick he's coming off that edge. And imagine we have a blitz scheme like that, and bam, you see something like that. Donovan Ezeiruaku is making that play versus Philly. He's making that play versus Detroit, or whatever the case might be, right? So now we're looking at this next run defensive play right here. Look, there's not many wide receivers or tight ends that are going to be able to block this defensive end, and that's something I very appreciate that I didn't like about guys like DeMarcus Lawrence or sometimes Michael Parsons, where it's like, bro, why are you letting this wide receiver who's 5'10", 5'11", that weighs 180 pounds soaking wet, being able to hook block you and things like that. Like, nah, Donovan Ezeiruaku, you saw on that previous play, man, he was able to get oh boy, Luther Burden up out the way and was able for him to do his thing. And right here, you're going to see the other pass rush set that he has. Quick firing off the ball, always fighting, always fighting. Look, worked his way to the quarterback, got the sack on Brady Cook. He did a damn good job cross chopping. I just like the way he won that rep. And now we're on to Pitt. This is the game in which they won this game. It was the last game of the year. They won 34-23 against the Pitt Panthers. Their last game of the season was November 30th, 2024. And this is where you're going to see why the Dallas Cowboys drafted a guy like Donovan Ezeiruaku. You're going to see right here. That first playoff snap off rip, he makes that big play, makes a tackle for loss versus Pitt. We're going to see another view from it. Look, that tight end. Look at that tight end is not able to put a single hand on Donovan Ezeiruaku. Right here. Why am I showing this play? No, Donovan Ezeiruaku did not get to the quarterback, but Donovan Ezeiruaku does a great job breaking down his offensive lineman. And look, he's getting chipped. It's the last game of the year. They have all types of game film on him. Look at the way that he's able to defeat that. Look at this also. He gets in like a 3-point stance. Look, tight end, get off me. The only thing I wish that he could have done a little bit better was a little bit more self-control. When he beats 86 off that block, I understand he wants to be aggressive and get him off the ball, but you have to come and attack this right here. Look, stop. Great. You beat the block. You did your job. Everyone behind, you look at my marker right here. That tight end is going to cover, he's covered by this guy right here. So you're good. You don't have to worry about that. Remember, you have inside help when you're playing defense. The edge, you don't have too much help, so you need to go out there and stick that to that contain. You also got this wide receiver right here being guarded by number 3, so it's a little bit of a man concept right here. But I want Donovan Ezeiruaku when he's playing against Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, quarterbacks of those nature that can get out, get jiggy with it. I need him to come this way. I need him to come downhill. I need him to come this way, because if this quarterback, which he's not, 19 is not too much of an athlete. Donovan Ezeiruaku is. Donovan Ezeiruaku sprints this way. Great, guess what? That quarterback's going to have to stop. He has to come back in. Now imagine him wearing that instead of that burgundy color he's wearing. Imagine that blue and silver that he's wearing with that star on his helmet. And you got DeMarvin Overshown, you got Oso Digizua, or you got whoever you got right here. And that if this quarterback wants to be funny, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts want to be funny, so they want to come back inside, bam, he going to be knocked out for the game. So I just want Donovan Ezeiruaku to take a better angle when he defeats that block off of 86. So you're going to see the play run. I see right there, that's what I'm saying. Like Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, my cousin, Lamar Jackson, he gone, man. That's an easy 5 or 6 yards as opposed to, you know, a dead play. Look at I love the way they crashed down. He was able self control when he plays. When you play with control chaos as a defensive player with this type of talent, it just makes your life just a hell of a lot easier, in my opinion. But you're just looking at the way Donovan Ezeiruaku is watching the ball, and he's watching the ball. He don't care about that motion or fake motion. Look, tight ends are not going to be able to defend this guy in the run game. George Kittle might be a different story. You know, some of the better run blocking tight ends in the league might be a little bit different. But the way that Donovan Ezeiruaku does not let tight ends or smaller guys that are not as physically built as him, they don't hold on and latch on to him for too long. So you got him out the way, bam. He has to make a better play. I want him to make that tackle back there on 26. But again, you'll get better with that over time. So I'm not too worried about that. Again, this is going to be a pass rush set. And look at the way that he does not give up on this play. He always fights. He's always looking for the ball. He's a football player, man. Look, he had 3.5 sacks in this game. You look at the way they run an ET stunt, which is edges go first, then tackles. So the edge, they crash down, then defensive tackles go outside. Bam, Donovan Ezeiruaku comes in. He gets credited for that half a sack right there. But he did his part. You know, he did everything he was supposed to. Donovan Ezeiruaku, this is where we talk about Micah Parsons. You want him to play off-ball linebacker. This is what Donovan Ezeiruaku is able to do a little bit. He's able to drop back in coverage, which they're not going to. But when you see Donovan Ezeiruaku, it looks like he's dropping back in coverage, but you're going to see him come downhill and pass rush. You know, that's something that we can do with Micah Parsons. Imagine your in-game package is 3rd and 15. You got to go after one of these division quarterbacks that I'm talking about. Imagine that being Micah and this being Donovan Ezeiruaku. And then more than likely you're running 4 down front where you're going to have Sam Williams or Dante Fowler, Osa, Sam, whatever the combination you want to run. And imagine that being your in-game package where your five defensive players rushing the passer, or two of your best pass rushers being off the ball, but you got 3 of your other really solid pass rushers on the line. You know what I mean? So like that could just cause chaos, and I think, you know, Eberflus wants to dial something up like this. It'll be great, you know. So we're just gonna let the play run out a little bit. Alrighty, then you're gonna see Donovan Ezeiruaku on that left tackle spot. Look how powerful his hands are, and he's being able to push back number 70. Again, it's going to be very tough when Donovan Ezeiruaku, with his size and his speed and technique, if he got his hands on you first, it's going to be very tough for an offensive lineman, man. Look at the way how powerful his hands are. He's able to knock back number 70 and being able to stand his ground. You know, something that we preach about a lot on this Dallas Cowboys, that we want you to defend your edge and you know hold your end of the bargain and set the edge in the run game. So you see him right here in the 3-point stance. You see Donovan Ezeiruaku. Bam, he plays that RPO very perfectly. Again, that's college. He's coming off a little bit wild, but in the league, I do want him to tame it a little bit because again, I'm pretending that 19, no. Not Josh Allen. No, he's not that type of Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels type of athlete. But I love the way that Donovan Ezeiruaku was able to see he was possibly getting double teamed. He got down to 3-point stance. Look, a 4-point stance. I'm sorry, gotta know my football here. And then look, he stops. Bam, you know, he stops the RPO. Now you would want, again, you're going to have Osa, you're going to have Micah, you're going to have Mozzie possibly who steps up. That's going to be able to make a play on this as well, like interior-wise. But Donovan Ezeiruaku, I liked what he did. But he just, again, got to be a little bit more tamed and try to be more on your feet as you can, man. And you'll make a better play on that. Okay. Right there, that yellow marker again indicates. You see how Donovan Ezeiruaku switches his feet before he pass rushes, man? He's getting better leverage. So look, so when we're gonna go back right there. So when that yellow arrow points, he has his left foot, right? Bam, switches to his right foot, wants to get better leverage, sack right there on the quarterback. Like, that's like mastery. Like, again, this dude's like, he's born in 03. Like, I'm older than him. Like, him and I are around the same age. Like, this is just some things you just can't teach guys around our age. The mastery of being able to sack, and look at that speed he's able to use coming off that edge and able to get to number 19, man. That was a damn good play. I really liked what Donovan Ezeiruaku did on that play, man. I was very proud. And also, this as well. The next play after, it's a run play. Bam, crashes down. You in the league cannot have number 6 or whatever, number 41, whatever number Donovan Ezeiruaku wants to wear, and you want to run that ball. You cannot leave Donovan Ezeiruaku unchecked because he has that type of speed to come down and make that tackle for loss. And Ezeiruaku right there, top of the screen. They're going to make a move, an inside move. The reason why I show this play is because in the league, more strength, the more he's able to know how to get skinny on that play, he's going to be able to make a play like that in the league. You saw he widened his stance. Bam, had his left foot up. Bam, he's going to cross chop inside. He's going to get inside that interior of that offensive lineman, and he's going to be able to do his thing. And look at the way he was checking his teammate. Look, if you just go back real quick, pause that. Just go back a little bit. You saw how at the bottom on that defensive line, we're looking at the forefront defensive lineman. Yeah, right. Donovan Ezeiruaku holding his teammate accountable, and he's telling number 15 on the opposite end, "Stay back up, man. Let's not get a false start." Then he goes in. Donovan Ezeiruaku goes in. He makes his play, man. So I really like the way in which that Donovan Ezeiruaku was holding his teammates accountable at all times. I really like that. I really appreciate that a lot because I think, in the game, it's time for you to lock in. It's crunch time. Donovan Ezeiruaku is going to be able to do his part and hold his teammates accountable. And I just love the way he's able to play. He's able to hold his teammates accountable not only with his play and how well he plays within games, but he also is thinking the game within the game, back up. We don't want to get a penalty. I really like that. I like that a lot. But Donovan Ezeiruaku, every single down, it plays like it's his last. He never takes any plays off. I really like the way he was playing in the last game of the season. I really appreciate that. Again, look how he just bulldozes and he just knocks down number 72 on the way to the quarterback, man. Man, the first time he does that to our NFL right tackle, man, the Cowboy Nation is going to go crazy. I really like the way in which Donovan Ezeiruaku just bull rush and just got 72 up off him, got inside his pads and just bam, got off of him. Again, right here, Donovan Ezeiruaku not losing sight on what the play is. Yes, he got tangled up in the offensive line. Uh, Look, man, like he's upset. He's saying, one of the offensive linemen they moved. He goes in, bam, ticks on the block, spins, tackles, make the play on the running back, and then after the play is done, look, he gonna look at the ref and be like, "Hey, man, like what you looking at?" Like one of the offensive linemen moved, and then you gonna see Donovan Ezeiruaku right here, man. Look, wham, get bro out the way. Look, he dips. Look at that, bro. We talking about Ed. Like we haven't seen that type of way to get that underneath the tackle without getting that bend that we talk about. We haven't seen that since '94, and you can say DeMarcus Ware, but that's Randy Gregory. Like for me, I'm talking about my age. Like bam, got off that blocker, got underneath that, got underneath that defensive tackle, and imagine that DB right there. Imagine that being a healthy Duran Bland or a healthy Trayvon Diggs. That's an interception the other way. I just really loved what Donovan Ezeiruaku did on that prior play, man. And you're looking at this right now. They're just trying to help and do everything they can to get Donovan Ezeiruaku, man. I think Donovan Ezeiruaku, while I'm talking while the film is going, man, I really feel that with Michael being a 13 and a half, 13, 14 sack guy, I think Donovan Ezeiruaku is another guy that can go out here and just play his part and just do his thing, man. You just look at the way in which Donovan Ezeiruaku is winning his matchups. Again, you had to put in like 3 different offensive linemen just to try and block Donovan Ezeiruaku. He's switching his rush feet, man. Look, and just making 77, 72, 70. Whoever was blocking for Pitt had no way. Look at that right there on this run play. Like, we get so mad when D-Law would get blocked by wide receivers and when our defensive ends get blocked by wide receivers and they don't toss them out the way. Look right here what Donovan Ezeiruaku was able to do, man. Look, number 5 gets tossed out the way like a rag doll, tackle for loss. If Donovan Ezeiruaku can keep this up and he can do this in the league, man, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy sight to see. I can't keep raving about this player. He's easily, to me, my second favorite draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys, man. I really love the way in which Brian Schottenheimer and this coaching staff got together, and Will McClay, Stephen Jerry Jones, they all got together and they put themselves a master class of an offensive line. I mean, an offense, not offensive anything, but I'm sorry for just talking about the draft in general. I just really liked what we did. Donovan Ezeiruaku still making plays even late into the game. Even when Boston College is more than likely taking care of business. Donovan Ezeiruaku is playing a ton of snaps. He's going to play garbage time minutes. He's going to play crunch time minutes. You just see the way that he's able to disrupt games and take over games. Bam, right there. He was able to make a play on that run defense stop right there. Again, being able to sack the quarterback again. And it's just this Pitt game, dude, he just went crazy. He just went off. And there was like, this is just a highlight reel. This, and then unfortunately, I didn't have tape of the first game versus Florida State. But this play right here, you can see Donovan Ezeiruaku getting into his Micah Parsons-like bag where he's able to pass rush from depth and being able to go down and make a play and things of that nature, man. So, again, Bam being able to get that running back off of him, try to hit him, right there. Then, he gets underneath the offensive tackle. That should be a flag in the league. It's not able to, I don't know if that's going to really happen because of, you know, in terms of, him wearing the silver and blue. They might not be able to call that. They're not going to call that, but, him still being able to do that. But I don't think you're not going to get away with it in the NFL if you got to hold Donovan Ezeiruaku and Michael Parsons. It's going to be really hard for the refs not to throw a flag on that particular play, man. So, you know, let's see. Then you got again Donovan Ezeiruaku in out just it's like basketball to him. It's like he's doing crossover like moves in the pocket. I really like that a lot. This Virginia Tech game was an up and down game. The final score was 42-21, and Virginia Tech won. They ran for 371 yards. Bashal Tootin had like 233 of the 371 yards. Everyone else chipped in. Like number one, he kind of reminds me of Jalen Hurts, the way his stance is, the way he's played, the way he extends and things of that nature, man. So you're gonna kind of get that kind of look right here when you see Donovan Ezeiruaku just being able to chase around number one all game. You see how live his feet are when you look at number one. He's extending the play, and you just look at Donovan Ezeiruaku. That was a really good play in college football. That was a catch because in college football you get 1 foot down. That's a completion. Look at number one again. Bam, touchdown to Bashal Tootin. But you see also how Donovan Ezeiruaku never gives up on the play. I know I was giving a little commentary about number one, but Donovan Ezeiruaku's never given up on these plays. He's still with the same intent. Earlier in the game was, I believe, 28-0. I want to say around the early third quarter, so right around halftime. Uh, Boston College was getting their tail whipped by Virginia Tech, and Donovan Ezeiruaku was playing with that same intent. He's coming off that ball with the same fire and the same intensity. No matter the score, Donovan Ezeiruaku is still playing. Look at this play right here. He's chasing down number one, Virginia Tech. I'm calling, the Virginia Tech's quarterback Jalen Hurts light, where Donovan Ezeiruaku doesn't stop. They run this RPO read flat play. The flat isn't there. It's covered up. We want to see it again. They motion in that player. Bam. RPO read flat. That play is guarded by Donovan Ezeiruaku. And he makes a play on that. And the defensive back, that nickel corner right there, picks the ball off. Bam. Then right here, they run the ball with Bashal Tootin. You see Donovan Ezeiruaku. He plays that quarterback read really well. He has it to where the quarterback gives up to the running back. Donovan Ezeiruaku turns around, plays on Bashal Tootin, and causes that fumble right here, man. The score, I believe, at this time was 28-14 in the third quarter. And Donovan Ezeiruaku doesn't give up, man. Look, bam, right here, makes that play, bam, causes that fumble. Now, instead of it 28-14, it's 28-21. Next time that Donovan Ezeiruaku, steps out onto the field, they make this play. They're rallying. The game's back up. Momentum's kind of starting to swing back into Boston College's favor. And, they're doing their thing, man. And I really like what, again, Donovan Ezeiruaku has been able to do so far in the tape I've been able to break down. I cannot rave about his play enough. I think everything that they talk about in terms of his character and everything like that is up to par. And just what I am able to look at on film, it oozes through the screen how much he cares about the game of football and how much he loves it, man. And he just plays like it's his last down. And I just think we just need 11 of those on the offensive side of the football, man. And being able to see it right here in live action is great. So, again, this is really great seeing all this and, breaking down Donovan Ezeiruaku film. This was definitely a pleasure. Next, I'm going to do Savon Revel Jr., who was my favorite draft pick of the draft class. So, again, that's about it for the video. Hopefully, you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.